Imagine waking up exactly 1 year from today. You reach for your phone, glance at the calendar, and realize another 12 months have passed. At first, it feels like any other morning, but then a quiet question settles into your mind. What has really changed? You think about the dreams you promised yourself you would chase, the business you wanted to start, the book you wanted to write, the weight you wanted to lose, the money you wanted to save, the habits you wanted to build. One by one, those promises come flooding back, not because you lacked intelligence, talent, or opportunity, but because you kept telling yourself, "I'll start when I feel ready." The hardest truth to accept is that readiness is often an illusion. Tomorrow became next week became next month. Before you knew it, another year quietly slipped away. If that thought makes you uncomfortable, don't turn away from it. Stay with it for a moment. Sometimes discomfort is the beginning of transformation. Sometimes the greatest breakthrough begins with the courage to admit that something has to change. Now imagine a different future. Imagine waking up 1 year from today with a sense of peace instead of regret. You are healthier because you stayed consistent. You are stronger because you kept your promises to yourself. Your confidence is no longer something you hope to have someday. It is something you have earned through daily action. Your life didn't change overnight. It changed because you chose to show up every single day, even when no one was watching. That is what this audiobook is about. This is not another collection of motivational speeches designed to make you feel excited for a few hours before life returns to normal. Motivation has its place, but it comes and goes like the weather. Some mornings you'll feel unstoppable. Other mornings you'll feel tired, discouraged, or distracted. If your future depends on how motivated you feel, your progress will always be uncertain. Discipline is different. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel before it tells you what to do. It teaches you to honor your commitments even when enthusiasm fades. It reminds you that extraordinary lives are rarely built through extraordinary moments. They are built through ordinary actions repeated with extraordinary consistency. Throughout this journey, you'll discover that the people you admire most are not necessarily the most gifted. More often than not, they are simply the ones who learned to act when others hesitated, to continue when others quit, and to remain faithful to their goals long after the excitement disappeared. Before we continue, I want you to pause for just a moment. Take out a notebook, open the Notes app on your phone, or simply find a blank piece of paper. Write down one habit you've been avoiding. It could be waking up earlier, exercising, reading every day, saving money, limiting distractions, or finally starting the project you've been putting off. Don't overthink it, just choose one. That habit will become your commitment throughout this audiobook. Every lesson you hear, every story you experience, and every challenge you complete will point you back to that single decision. By focusing on one meaningful change, you'll begin building something far more valuable than a new habit. You'll begin building a new identity. As the saying commonly attributed to Aristotle reminds us, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Today is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming consistent. This is the day everything changes, not because your circumstances suddenly improve, but because you make one decision that your future self will thank you for. The blueprint begins now. Chapter 1. Stop waiting to feel motivated. Every January, Marcus made the same promise to himself. This is going to be my year. He bought a brand new notebook, downloaded productivity apps, watched motivational videos late into the night, and imagined how different his life would look if he simply stayed committed. He planned to wake up at 5:30 every morning, exercise before work, launch the online business he had been talking about for years, and finally take control of his finances. But then Monday arrived. He didn't sleep well the night before, so he decided to begin next Monday instead. "I'll have more energy then," he told himself. The following Monday came with unexpected overtime at work. "This week's too busy." The Monday after that, it rained. "I'll wait until the weather improves." Then a family gathering filled his weekend. I'll start after that. One Monday turned into another. Winter became spring. Spring became summer. Summer quietly faded into fall. Before Marcus realized it, nearly a year had passed, and the notebook that once represented hope was still sitting on his desk, its pages almost completely blank. The painful part wasn't that Marcus lacked ability. He was intelligent, capable, and full of ideas. The painful part was that he had spent months waiting for a feeling that never consistently arrived. He believed motivation had to come first. What he didn't understand was that motivation rarely knocks on your door. More often than not, it appears after you've already started. This is one of the greatest mindset shifts you'll ever make. Most people believe they need to feel like working before they can begin. In reality, action creates momentum, and momentum creates motivation. The first step is almost always the hardest, but once you take it, the second becomes easier, then the third, until what once felt impossible becomes part of your routine. Think about a successful entrepreneur. People often assume they wake up every morning excited to solve problems, answer emails, make difficult decisions, and work long hours. The truth is far less glamorous. There are mornings when they feel tired, days when they question themselves, moments when they would rather stay in bed or put things off until tomorrow. Yet they begin anyway. They understand that success doesn't depend on their mood, it depends on their commitment. Now compare that to someone who keeps waiting for the perfect moment. They wait until they're more confident. They wait until life becomes less stressful. They wait until they have more money. They wait until they have more time. They wait until inspiration magically appears. Meanwhile, the disciplined person keeps taking small, imperfect steps forward. Month after month, those small actions grow into remarkable results, while the person waiting for the right feeling remains exactly where they started. The difference isn't talent. It isn't intelligence. It isn't luck. It's the willingness to act before you feel ready. That is the foundation of discipline. Today, I want you to prove something to yourself. Think of one task you've been avoiding. Maybe it's making an important phone call, cleaning your workspace, reading a few pages of a book, exercising, or taking the first step on a project you've delayed for weeks. Now set a timer for just 5 minutes. Not an hour. Not until it's finished. Just 5 minutes. During those 5 minutes, give the task your full attention. No excuses, no distractions, no negotiating with yourself. When the timer ends, notice how different you feel from when you started. Chances are, you'll discover that beginning was far more difficult than continuing. That's because action has a way of creating its own energy. Remember these words from Pablo Picasso. Action is the foundational key to all success. Don't wait for the perfect Monday. Don't wait for the perfect mood. The life you want isn't built by people who feel ready every day. It's built by people who decide that today, even an ordinary, imperfect today, is enough to begin. Chapter 2: Your brain loves comfort. Success lives outside it. The alarm clock rang at 5:00 a.m. Outside, the wind rattled the windows, and the cold winter air wrapped itself around the house like a heavy blanket. Ethan opened his eyes, glanced at the clock, and immediately pulled the covers closer. His bed felt warm, comfortable, and safe. Every part of him whispered the same message. Just sleep for another hour. He had planned to go for a morning run. The night before, he laid out his running shoes beside the bed, filled his water bottle, and promised himself that this time would be different. But now, with the room still dark and the cold waiting outside, the promise suddenly felt much harder to keep. His mind immediately began negotiating. One day won't hurt. You'll run tomorrow. You need the extra rest. It's too cold anyway. Those excuses sounded reasonable. In fact, they sounded convincing, but Ethan had heard them before. They were the same excuses that had kept him from becoming the person he wanted to be. Every time he listened, he stayed exactly where he was. He sat on the edge of the bed for a moment, took a deep breath, and reached for his shoes. The cold didn't disappear. The run didn't become easier. His body still wanted to turn around and go back inside. But something remarkable happened after the first few minutes. His breathing settled, his body warmed up, his mind became clearer. By the time the run was over, he wasn't proud because it had been easy, he was proud because he had done something difficult. That morning didn't just strengthen his body. It strengthened his identity. This is one of the greatest battles you'll ever face, and it happens almost every day. Your brain is designed to protect you, not necessarily to help you grow. It constantly searches for the easiest path because, throughout human history, conserving energy helped people survive. While that instinct once served an important purpose, it now often keeps us trapped in routines that feel comfortable but prevent us from reaching our potential. Comfort feels good in the moment. Growth feels uncomfortable in the moment. The problem is that comfort often comes with a hidden cost. Every time we avoid a challenge, delay a responsibility, or choose what is easy instead of what is necessary, we reinforce the habit of staying where we are. Discipline begins the moment you stop asking what feels comfortable and start asking what will help me grow. Think about how this shows up in everyday life. The alarm rings early, but the bed feels warmer than your goals. Your paycheck arrives, but buying something today feels easier than saving for tomorrow. A difficult subject sits open on your desk, but scrolling through your phone promises instant entertainment instead. These situations may seem small, but they reveal an important truth. Success is rarely decided by one life-changing moment. It is built through hundreds of ordinary decisions between comfort and progress. The comfort zone is not a place where dreams are destroyed overnight. It is a place where dreams slowly fade because they are constantly postponed. Every time you step outside that zone, even in a small way, you teach your mind something powerful. I can do hard things. The more often you repeat that lesson, the stronger your discipline becomes. What once felt uncomfortable begins to feel normal. Challenges that used to intimidate you become opportunities to grow. You no longer rely on confidence to take action because your consistency has become your confidence. This week, I want you to make one simple commitment. Choose one action that feels slightly uncomfortable but will make your life better. It could be waking up 30 minutes earlier, walking for 20 minutes each morning, saving a small amount of money before spending anything else, reading 10 pages of a book every evening, or studying a new skill instead of watching television. Don't choose 10 new habits. Choose one. Then repeat it every day for the next 7 days, whether you feel like it or not. Some days it will feel easy. Other days it won't. Do it anyway. Because every time you choose growth over comfort, you're casting another vote for the person you are becoming. Remember the words of Dale Carnegie. Do the hard jobs first. The easy jobs will take care of themselves. Your brain will always invite you toward comfort. Your future will always be built by the choices that lead you beyond it. The question isn't whether discomfort will show up. It will. The real question is this: when comfort calls your name tomorrow morning, which voice will you choose to follow? Chapter 3: The Identity Shift. Two friends made the same decision on the same day. Both had spent years struggling with the same bad habit. They were tired of making excuses, tired of feeling disappointed in themselves, and tired of promising that this time would be different. So, on the first day of the month, they agreed to change. The first friend, Daniel, approached the challenge with determination. Whenever someone offered him the habit he was trying to leave behind, he would politely smile and say, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." The second friend, Michael, responded differently. "No thanks," he would say, "I'm becoming someone who doesn't do that anymore." At first, the difference seemed almost invisible. Both were refusing the same temptation. Both wanted the same outcome. But as the weeks passed, their words began shaping their actions. Whenever Daniel slipped, he became discouraged. "I knew I wasn't strong enough. Maybe I'll start over next Monday. I'm just not good at this." Because in his mind, he was still the same person who struggled. He was simply trying to behave differently. Michael faced setbacks too. There were days when the old habit tempted him more than he expected. There were moments when progress felt slow, but every time he stumbled, he reminded himself of one simple truth: "I'm becoming someone who makes better choices." Instead of seeing failure as proof that he couldn't change, he saw it as part of becoming the person he wanted to be. Months later, their lives looked very different. Daniel was still waiting for change to happen. Michael had become the change. The difference wasn't talent. It wasn't willpower. It wasn't luck. It was identity. One of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to improve their lives is focusing only on changing their behavior. They create new routines, buy new planners, download new apps, and set ambitious goals. Those tools can be helpful, but lasting discipline is never built on behavior alone. It is built on identity. Behavior asks, "What do I want to do?" Identity asks, "Who do I want to become?" That may seem like a small difference, but it changes everything. Imagine someone who wants to become healthier. If they believe, "I'm a lazy person trying to exercise," every workout feels like a battle against who they believe they are. But if they begin saying, "I am someone who takes care of my body," every workout becomes evidence that their new identity is true. The same principle applies to every area of life. Instead of saying, "I hope I stay disciplined," say, "I am someone who keeps promises to myself." Instead of saying, "I'll try to finish this project," say, "I am someone who finishes what I start." Instead of saying, "I'm trying to be more responsible," say, "I am someone who follows through even when it's difficult." These statements are not empty affirmations, they are commitments. Every disciplined action becomes another vote for the person you are choosing to become. Think back to the runner from the previous chapter. The morning run wasn't just about improving physical fitness. Every time those shoes were laced up despite the cold, another message was being sent to the mind. "I am someone who does difficult things." That message, repeated often enough, becomes stronger than any temporary feeling. This is why discipline becomes easier over time. You stop forcing yourself to act against your nature because your nature begins to change. The actions that once required constant effort slowly become part of who you are. That transformation doesn't happen in one dramatic moment. It happens through hundreds of ordinary decisions. Each time you keep your word. Each time you choose progress over comfort. Each time you finish what you started. You strengthen your identity. Today, I want you to complete a simple exercise that has the power to influence every decision you make from this point forward. Take out your notebook or open the Notes app on your phone. Write one sentence that begins with these two words: "I am." Finish the sentence with the identity you want to build. Perhaps it's, "I am someone who keeps promises to myself." "I am someone who finishes what I start." "I am someone who chooses discipline over excuses." "I am someone who grows stronger through consistent action." Choose one statement that genuinely reflects the person you are committed to becoming. Then read it every morning before your day begins. Not because reading the words will magically change your life, but because they remind you of the standard you've chosen to live by. Throughout the day, let your actions answer the question: Does this decision match the person I am becoming? Henry Ford once said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." Your thoughts shape your beliefs. Your beliefs shape your identity. And your identity shapes the disciplined choices that ultimately shape your life. The moment you stop seeing discipline as something you have to do and start seeing it as part of who you are, you've crossed a line that many people never reach. That is where lasting transformation begins. Chapter 4: Keep the promise you made to yourself. Every Sunday evening, Sarah made a plan. She would clean her apartment, prepare healthy meals for the week, wake up 30 minutes earlier, read for 20 minutes each night, and finally begin working on the business idea she had been talking about for years. The plan always looked perfect on paper. Monday morning arrived, and she hit the snooze button. "I'll wake up early tomorrow." That evening, she ordered takeout instead of cooking. It's been a long day. She told herself she would read before bed, but instead she spent an hour scrolling through her phone. "I'll make up for it this weekend." The business idea remained untouched. "I'm just too busy right now." At first, these seemed like harmless decisions. After all, everyone misses a workout or postpones a task once in a while. But what Sarah didn't realize was that every broken promise was quietly sending a message to herself. "I don't do what I say I'm going to do." That message didn't stay confined to one habit. It began influencing every part of her life. She stopped volunteering for opportunities at work because she doubted she would follow through. She hesitated to set new goals because she expected to disappoint herself again. Her confidence didn't disappear overnight. It slowly faded with every promise she failed to keep. One afternoon, while organizing old notebooks, Sarah noticed something that stopped her in her tracks. Page after page contained nearly identical goals written months apart. Wake up earlier. Exercise consistently. Read more books. Save money. Start the business. The words had changed very little. Neither had her life. She realized she wasn't suffering from a lack of knowledge. She knew exactly what needed to be done. The real problem was that she had stopped trusting herself. That realization changed everything. Most people think confidence comes from success, praise, or natural talent. While those things can provide temporary encouragement, they are not the foundation of lasting confidence. Real confidence grows from something much deeper. It grows from self-trust. Self-trust is built every time you make yourself a promise and keep it. Think about the people you trust most in your life. Chances are they have earned that trust by being consistent. When they say they will do something, they follow through. Their reliability makes you confident in them. The same principle applies to your relationship with yourself. Every time you tell yourself you'll wake up early and you do, your self-trust grows. Every time you say you'll finish the chapter, make the phone call, save the money, or take the walk, and then follow through, you strengthen the belief that your word means something. These victories may seem small, but they are laying the foundation for something much greater than completing a task. They are building your character. Imagine someone who decides to read just 10 pages every evening. The first night doesn't transform their life. Neither does the second. But after a week, they begin noticing something different. They no longer wonder whether they'll read, they simply do it. After a month, they've completed an entire book. More importantly, they've proven to themselves that they can be counted on. The habit is valuable. The self-belief it creates is priceless. The same is true for waking up when the alarm rings, saving a small amount from every paycheck, exercising for 20 minutes, or spending 15 focused minutes learning a new skill. None of these actions are extraordinary by themselves. Their power comes from repetition. Each completed commitment whispers the same message. I can trust myself. Over time, that quiet message becomes an unshakable belief. Discipline isn't about making dramatic promises that sound impressive. It's about making realistic promises that you consistently honor. Today, I want you to make one promise to yourself. Not 5, not 10, just one. Choose something simple enough that you know you can complete it before the day ends. Maybe you'll drink more water. Maybe you'll organize your workspace. Maybe you'll walk for 15 minutes. Maybe you'll read one chapter of a book. Whatever you choose, make sure it is specific, achievable, and meaningful. Then complete it without negotiating with yourself. When you finish, don't rush past the moment. Pause for a few seconds and recognize what you've actually accomplished. You didn't just complete a task. You strengthened your relationship with yourself. Tomorrow, make another promise. Keep that one too. Over time, these small victories become evidence that you are becoming someone who follows through, even when no one else is watching. As Robert Kiyosaki wisely said, confidence comes from discipline and training. Confidence is not something you wait to feel before taking action. It is something you earn by proving to yourself, one promise at a time, that your word matters. And when you become someone who trusts your own word, discipline is no longer a struggle. It becomes part of who you are. Chapter 5: Winning the Invisible Battle. At 4:45 every morning, before the city began to stir, before traffic filled the roads, and before the first emails appeared on anyone's screen, James quietly walked into a small room at the back of his house. There were no cameras recording him, no audience waiting to applaud, no social media posts announcing that he had shown up again. Just a desk, a notebook, a lamp, and a goal that mattered deeply to him. For 30 minutes, he worked. Some mornings, he wrote. Other mornings, he studied. Sometimes he planned, sometimes he practiced, sometimes he simply tackled the most important task that would move his life forward. Not every morning felt productive. There were days when his thoughts wandered, when he felt tired, or when progress seemed painfully slow. Yet when the timer ended, he knew he had honored a commitment to himself. Then he closed the notebook, turned off the light, and went about the rest of his day. Most people who met James never saw those quiet mornings. What they eventually noticed were the results. They saw the promotion. They admired his knowledge. They complimented his confidence. They assumed he had been fortunate or naturally gifted. Very few people realized that the visible success they admired had been quietly built in moments that no one else had witnessed. This is the invisible battle. It is the daily choice between doing what is easy and doing what is necessary when there is no immediate reward and no one is keeping score. Many people work hard when someone is watching. Students study harder before an exam. Employees often become more productive when their manager is nearby. Athletes push themselves during competition. But discipline asks a different question. Who are you when no one is watching? Character is rarely built under a spotlight. It is built in ordinary moments that seem too small to matter. It is built when you return the shopping cart even though you could leave it behind. It is built when you keep reading after everyone else in the house has gone to bed. It is built when you wake up on time without someone reminding you. It is built when you choose to finish the work instead of telling yourself you'll do it tomorrow. These moments may never receive recognition, but they shape the kind of person you become. Think of discipline like planting seeds beneath the surface of the soil. For days, perhaps even weeks, nothing appears to happen. From the outside, the ground looks exactly the same. But beneath the surface, roots are forming. Strength is developing when no one can see it. Eventually, the plant breaks through the ground and people notice the growth. What they don't see is everything that happened before the first sign of success. The same principle applies to your habits. Reading 10 pages each day may not seem significant. Saving a small amount of money every week may not feel life-changing. Practicing a skill for half an hour every morning may not produce immediate results. But these unseen actions accumulate. One day becomes 1 week. 1 week becomes 1 month. 1 month becomes 1 year. Then people begin to notice what appears to be an overnight success. What they are really seeing is the result of hundreds of quiet decisions made long before anyone paid attention. Visible success is almost always built on invisible discipline. If you want different results tomorrow, you must first become willing to win today's unseen battles. That means choosing consistency over recognition, progress over praise, commitment over convenience. Today, I want you to create your own invisible victory. Set aside 30 uninterrupted minutes to work on one goal that genuinely matters to you. Turn off your notifications. Put your phone out of reach. Close unnecessary tabs on your computer. Protect those 30 minutes as if they were an appointment with your future. Don't worry about finishing the entire project. Don't measure success by perfection. Measure it by presence. For those 30 minutes, give your complete attention to the work in front of you. When the time is over, you'll have gained something far more valuable than 30 minutes of progress. You'll have strengthened the habit of showing up, regardless of whether anyone notices. That habit compounds over time. It becomes the quiet force behind every meaningful achievement. As the saying, often attributed to Abraham Lincoln, reminds us, discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. In every quiet morning, in every uninterrupted work session, in every decision to continue when no one is watching, you are making that choice. And while the world may never witness those moments, your future will be built because of them. The greatest victories in life are often won long before anyone else realizes a battle was ever being fought. Chapter 6: Small Habits, Extraordinary Results. On the first day of January, two friends made a promise to themselves. Alex decided he would improve his life by making one small change every day. Nothing dramatic, nothing overwhelming. He didn't create a long list of resolutions or attempt to transform every area of his life overnight. Instead, he asked himself one simple question each morning. What's one small thing I can do today that my future self will thank me for? Some days, he read 10 pages of a book. Other days, he walked for 20 minutes after dinner. He drank more water, spent a few minutes planning the next day, and set aside a small amount of money before spending the rest. None of these actions seemed impressive by themselves, but he repeated them consistently. His friend, Ryan, also wanted a better life. He talked about getting in shape, reading more, and advancing his career. He believed that one day he would make a massive change that would solve everything at once. He waited for extra time, more energy, or the perfect opportunity to begin. That opportunity never seemed to arrive. Weeks turned into months. Months became a year. When the next January arrived, neither man looked dramatically different at first glance. But as they talked about the past year, the contrast became impossible to ignore. Alex had finished several books that expanded his thinking. His energy had improved because daily walks had become part of his routine. He felt more organized because planning each day had become second nature. He had saved money consistently, giving himself peace of mind instead of financial stress. Ryan, however, found himself having the same conversations he had 12 months earlier. The same goals, the same excuses, The same frustration. The difference wasn't that Alex worked harder every single day. The difference was that he worked consistently. This is one of the most powerful truths about discipline. Life rarely changes because of one extraordinary decision. It changes because of hundreds of ordinary decisions that quietly accumulate over time. Many people underestimate the power of small actions because they judge them in isolation. Reading 10 pages doesn't seem like much. Walking for 20 minutes doesn't seem life-changing. Saving a small amount of money each week doesn't feel significant. But discipline isn't about asking, "What difference will this make today?" It's about asking, "What difference will this make if I repeat it for a year?" Think about reading just 10 pages every day. On the first day, you've only read 10 pages. After a week, you've read 70. After a month, you've completed hundreds of pages. By the end of the year, you've likely finished multiple books, exposing yourself to new ideas, new perspectives, and practical knowledge that can influence your decisions for years to come. The same principle applies to walking for 20 minutes each day. One walk may leave you feeling slightly refreshed. A month of walks begins improving your endurance. Several months can increase your energy, strengthen your body, reduce stress, and create a routine that supports both your physical and mental well-being. The daily action seems small. The long-term result is extraordinary. This is the ripple effect of discipline. Every good habit creates opportunities for another good habit. A person who wakes up earlier often has more time to exercise. Someone who exercises consistently often makes healthier food choices. Better health can improve focus and productivity. Greater productivity creates better opportunities at work or in business. One disciplined decision quietly influences the next. That is why certain routines are often called keystone habits. They create positive momentum that spreads into other areas of life. The goal is not to do everything at once. The goal is to choose one habit that naturally encourages other positive behaviors. For one person, that habit may be making the bed every morning because it creates a sense of order before the day begins. For another, it may be reading before bed instead of scrolling through a phone. For someone else, it may be taking a daily walk that clears the mind and creates space for better decisions. The habit itself matters, but the consistency matters even more. Today, I want you to identify one keystone habit that you can practice every day for the next 7 days. Keep it simple. Keep it realistic. Keep it repeatable. Don't choose a habit that depends on perfect conditions. Choose one you can complete even on busy days. Then commit to protecting that habit regardless of your mood or schedule. At the end of the week, don't ask whether your life has completely changed. Ask yourself a better question. Am I becoming someone who consistently follows through? Because that is the real victory. Robert Collier once wrote, "Success is the sum of small efforts, repeated day in and day out." Discipline isn't measured by one extraordinary performance. It is measured by the quiet decision to do the right thing again tomorrow. And then the day after that. Those small habits may seem almost invisible today, but over time, they become the foundation of extraordinary results. The future you hope for is not created by occasional bursts of effort. It is created by the small choices you are willing to repeat, one disciplined day at a time. Chapter 7: Becoming Unstoppable. When Olivia launched her first business, she believed success would come quickly. She had spent months preparing. She studied successful entrepreneurs, watched countless educational videos, built a website, and carefully planned every detail. The day she finally launched, she was certain her hard work would immediately pay off. It didn't. The first week passed without a single customer. The second week brought only a handful of inquiries, none of which became sales. By the end of the month, she began questioning everything. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe someone else could do it better. Maybe I should just quit. The disappointment was real. She had invested time, energy, and hope into something that wasn't producing the results she expected. But instead of walking away, she did something different. She sat down with a notebook and asked herself two simple questions. What did I learn? What should I improve next? She realized her marketing message wasn't clear. She adjusted it. She noticed that potential customers had questions she hadn't answered. She updated her website. She discovered that consistency mattered more than occasional bursts of effort, so she committed to showing up every single day, whether she saw immediate results or not. The next month wasn't perfect either. Neither was the month after that. There were still disappointments. There were still mistakes. There were still moments when giving up seemed easier than continuing. The difference was that quitting was no longer part of her identity. She had become someone who kept going. Months later, people began noticing her success. They admired her business and praised her determination. What they didn't see were the dozens of invisible setbacks that had shaped her long before success became visible. This is what discipline looks like. It is not a life without obstacles. It is not a path without disappointment. And it is certainly not the absence of failure. Discipline is the decision to continue after failure. Many people believe that successful individuals rarely experience setbacks. The truth is exactly the opposite. Successful people experience rejection. They make mistakes. They encounter delays. They lose opportunities. They face criticism. The difference is not that life treats them differently. The difference is that they refuse to let temporary setbacks become permanent conclusions. Failure only becomes final when you stop moving forward. Every challenge contains a choice. You can allow it to define your future, or you can allow it to develop your character. That choice is made repeatedly, often in moments when no one else is watching. Think about the difference between enthusiasm and persistence. Enthusiasm is powerful. It gives you energy to begin. It creates excitement about new goals. But enthusiasm is temporary. It rises and falls with emotions, circumstances, and results. Persistence is different. Persistence continues after the excitement fades. It keeps showing up when progress feels slow. It keeps practicing after making mistakes. It keeps learning after hearing no. Over time, persistence quietly outlasts enthusiasm. Imagine two people starting the same journey. The first person is filled with excitement for the first few weeks. They work intensely, tell everyone about their goals, and expect immediate results. The second person starts with quiet determination. They focus less on announcing their plans and more on consistently following through. Months later, the excitement of the first person has faded. Unexpected obstacles appeared. Progress slowed. Their routine disappeared along with their motivation. Meanwhile, the second person continues taking steady steps. Not because every day feels exciting, but because discipline has become part of who they are. This is how ordinary people accomplish extraordinary things. Not through perfect circumstances, not through endless motivation, but through consistent persistence. Today, I want you to think about a recent setback in your own life. Maybe you missed a goal. Maybe a project didn't work out. Maybe you lost an opportunity. Maybe you started a habit and stopped after a few days. Instead of criticizing yourself, take a different approach. Write down one lesson that experience taught you. Be honest. Be specific. Then write down one next step you can take because of what you learned. Notice the difference. You are no longer asking, "Why did this happen to me?" You are asking, "How can this make me stronger?" That simple shift transforms setbacks into stepping stones. Every lesson becomes another brick in the foundation of your discipline. Every next step becomes proof that you are still moving forward. There is a quiet confidence that develops when you stop fearing failure. Not because failure feels good, but because you understand it cannot stop someone who refuses to quit. The Japanese proverb reminds us, "Fall 7 times, stand up 8. Those words do not celebrate falling. They celebrate rising. Anyone can keep moving when everything is going well. Discipline is revealed when life becomes difficult. It is revealed when plans change, when results are delayed, when no one is cheering you on. Every time you choose to stand up again, you strengthen something far more valuable than success. You strengthen your character. And eventually, there comes a point where people describe you as unstoppable. Not because you never failed, but because you never allowed failure to have the final word. Chapter 8. Build a life that future you will thank you for. Imagine that 5 years have passed. You walk into a quiet coffee shop on an ordinary afternoon. As you look around the room, someone catches your attention. They seem familiar, the way they sit, the calm expression on their face, the confidence in their posture. As you move closer, you realize something extraordinary. You're looking at yourself. Not the person you are today, but the person you could become 5 years from now. They smile and invite you to sit down. For a moment, neither of you speaks. You study their face, searching for the secret that transformed their life. Finally, you ask the question that has been on your mind. How did you get here? Your future self doesn't mention luck. They don't talk about discovering a shortcut or waiting for the perfect opportunity. Instead, they quietly say, "I started keeping the promises you keep postponing." They explain that nothing changed overnight. There wasn't one magical morning when everything suddenly fell into place. There wasn't one decision that instantly transformed every area of life. There were thousands of small decisions. Choosing to wake up instead of pressing the snooze button. Choosing to finish the task instead of delaying it until tomorrow. Choosing to save money instead of making another unnecessary purchase. Choosing to have difficult conversations instead of avoiding them. Choosing to learn when entertainment would have been easier. Those choices didn't seem important in the moment, but together they built an entirely different life. That conversation reveals one of the greatest truths about discipline. The life you will live tomorrow is being shaped by the decisions you make today. Every action casts a vote for the person you are becoming. Every habit reinforces an identity. Every repeated choice quietly builds your future. Many people imagine that their future will somehow be different while continuing to make the same daily decisions. But time alone does not create change. Direction creates change. If you continue walking the same path, you will continue arriving at the same destination. Discipline is what gives your future a new direction. Think about your health. One healthy meal won't transform your body. One workout won't dramatically improve your fitness. But consistent choices made over months and years can increase your energy, strengthen your body, and improve your quality of life in ways that are difficult to measure from one day to the next. Now think about your finances. Saving a small amount of money today may seem insignificant. Choosing to spend less than you earn this week may not feel exciting. But repeated over time, those disciplined decisions create stability, reduce stress, and open doors that once seemed impossible. The same principle applies to your relationships. Trust is rarely built through one grand gesture. It grows through consistent kindness, honesty, reliability, and showing up when it matters. The small conversations, the thoughtful messages, the promises you keep. Those ordinary moments become the foundation of extraordinary relationships. And then there is purpose. Purpose is not discovered only through dramatic moments of inspiration. More often, it becomes clearer each time you choose to develop your skills, honor your commitments, and continue growing despite uncertainty. The disciplined life is not a perfect life. It is a life moving steadily in the right direction. As you've discovered throughout this audiobook, discipline isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming the person you are always capable of being. The version of you who finishes what they start. The version of you who chooses progress over excuses. The version of you who understands that consistency is more valuable than occasional perfection. Now I want you to complete one final exercise before this chapter ends. Take a notebook or a blank sheet of paper. Imagine it is 5 years from today. Write a short letter from your future self to the person you are right now. Let that future version thank you for the decisions you're beginning to make today. Perhaps it says, "Thank you for not giving up when progress felt slow. Thank you for choosing discipline over comfort. Thank you for believing that small habits mattered. Thank you for continuing even when no one noticed." Write honestly. Write personally. Allow your future self to remind you that today's effort is creating tomorrow's opportunities. Then keep that letter somewhere you can read it whenever discipline feels difficult. It will serve as a reminder that every decision you make is either bringing you closer to the life you want or keeping you where you are. Mahatma Gandhi wisely said, "The future depends on what you do today." Those words capture the heart of this entire blueprint. Your future is not waiting for a different version of you to appear. It is waiting for today's version of you to make one disciplined decision after another. Years from now, people may admire your confidence, your health, your relationships, your financial stability, or the purpose you've built. What they won't always see are the countless ordinary choices that made those things possible. But you will know. You'll remember the mornings you chose discipline over comfort. You'll remember the promises you kept when no one was watching. You'll remember the setbacks you refused to let define you. Most importantly, you'll remember that your future didn't change because life became easier. It changed because you became more consistent. And one day, when you look back on this moment, you'll realize that the greatest gift you ever gave yourself wasn't a burst of motivation. It was the decision to build a life that your future self would always be grateful for. Your new beginning. If you've stayed with me through this entire journey, you've already done something meaningful. You didn't simply listen to ideas about discipline, you took time to reflect on your habits, your choices, and the person you're becoming. That matters because lasting change doesn't begin with a dramatic breakthrough. More often, it begins with an honest decision to live differently, one choice at a time. As we reach the end of this audiobook, I want to leave you with one final thought. There will never be a perfect day to begin. There will always be another Monday, another excuse, another unexpected obstacle, another reason to convince yourself that tomorrow would be a better time. Life will always present distractions. Some will be real. Others will be created by fear, doubt, or the desire to remain comfortable. But none of those voices can build the life you deserve. Only your decisions can do that. Throughout this audiobook, we've discovered that discipline isn't about being fearless. It isn't about having endless motivation or waking up every day filled with excitement. It is about choosing what matters most, even when your emotions suggest something easier. The person you hope to become is not waiting for perfect circumstances. That healthier version of you, that stronger version of you, that wiser, calmer, more confident version of you isn't waiting for another motivational speech. That person is waiting for today's decision, not tomorrow's, today's. You don't have to transform your entire life before the sun goes down. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to solve every problem at once. You only need to take the next faithful step. Keep one promise. Finish one task. Wake up when the alarm rings one more time. Read one chapter. Save $1. Take one walk. Make one phone call you've been avoiding. Write one page. Practice one skill. Have one honest conversation. These actions may seem ordinary. In fact, they should. Because ordinary actions, repeated consistently, create extraordinary lives. Remember what we've learned together. Discipline begins when you stop waiting for motivation. It grows when you step outside your comfort zone. It becomes stronger when your identity changes from someone who is trying to someone who follows through. It deepens every time you keep a promise to yourself. It is strengthened in the quiet moments when no one is watching. It compounds through small habits that seem insignificant today but become life-changing over time. And it reveals its greatest power when you choose to stand back up after disappointment instead of allowing setbacks to define you. These lessons are not separate ideas. They are connected. Together, they form a blueprint, not just for accomplishing goals, but for becoming a person whose actions consistently reflect their values. Months from now, you probably won't remember every sentence from this audiobook. You may not remember every story or every example. But I hope you'll remember the central truth that runs through all of it. Every disciplined decision is a vote for the person you are becoming. Every time you choose responsibility over excuses. Every time you choose growth over comfort. Every time you honor your word instead of negotiating with yourself. You are quietly building a future that your present self cannot yet fully see. There will be days when progress feels slow. There will be mornings when discipline feels difficult. There will be moments when you'll wonder if your small efforts are making any difference at all. Keep going, not because success is guaranteed tomorrow, but because every consistent action strengthens the kind of person who is capable of creating success over time. One day, you'll look back and realize that your life wasn't changed by one extraordinary decision. It was changed by hundreds of ordinary decisions that you refused to abandon. So let this ending become your beginning. Close this audiobook not with the feeling that you've finished something, but with the understanding that you've been given an opportunity to start something. Choose one commitment. Protect it. Repeat it tomorrow. Then repeat it again. Your future isn't asking you to be perfect. It isn't demanding flawless execution. It isn't expecting you to never fail. It is simply asking you to remain consistent. So stand up. Take the first step. Then take the next. And when tomorrow arrives, take another. Because the life you've been hoping for is not built in one extraordinary moment. It is built patiently and faithfully through disciplined choices made one day at a time. Your blueprint is now in your hands. The next chapter is yours to write.